Have you ever wondered about how to actually use social media in order to win new clients? Have you ever thought about how to go after one particular line of insurance, such as workers' compensation, and utilize that in order to drive more new business opportunities your way via the signed broker of record letter? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today because I have a special guest with us. Her name is Rocio, and if you haven't heard of her before, you're going to hear from her today, and she's going to tell you about how she is winning a lot of new clients by signed broker of record letter. So stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome to the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. My name is Charles Specht. I am the host, and I am glad that you are here with us today. And I have a special guest with us. Her name is Rocio, and she is a member of the 12X Commission Mastermind. And she has been with the Mastermind, I don't know, maybe about 6, 7, 8 months. I'm not even quite sure exactly how long it's been, but she's been with us for a little while. And she's absolutely killing it. She is doing such a good job. And after all is said and done, I think that what you're going to learn from her today is that it's just a matter of actually implementing what you learn, and then you get the actual result. Just do what you're supposed to do and follow the directions, and it all kind of works out really well. So, Rocio, great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Charles. It's a real honor to be able to speak on your podcast and to know that I actually, came across you through a podcast link through YouTube.
YouTube. Oh, that's awesome. So talk to me about like how you found out about us on YouTube. Like what was it? Did you do a Google search or something like that? Or what was it?
Yes. So actually I was on YouTube searching up how to prospect, how to cold call. I just typed in real easily cold call.
Yeah.
Cold calling scripts, commercial insurance. And I believe one of your titles, I can't really remember the name, but I believe it was cold calling and prospecting. And I clicked on it, listened to the whole video, and it was just you talking about how to win business through via broker of record. Uh-huh. And that whole video, I was like, that makes total sense. I've seen several agents quote, I've quoted once and I did not win that deal. I lost it. Uh-huh. And I was like, that is absolutely, it makes 100% sense. And, the only way to do business, and the easiest way to also takes off a lot, it's less pressure for the insureds to do business, via broker or record.
That's great. That's awesome. So I'm excited to be able to work with you. I'm actually excited for everybody to hear about how you're winning new business because you're doing it in a very unique and special way. Social media is your primary facet for prospecting, going after workers' compensation, going after contractors and so forth, and winning, frankly, some large accounts. So I'm excited for them to be able to hear about how you're doing it. But why don't you just tell us very quickly, where are you at? What do you focus on? How long you been in the insurance business? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So let me give you a little bit of background of how about my insurance background. So I was a claims manager for almost about 7 years, and I got into the business real early. So straight out of college, I was recruited into an agency, and they needed a work comp claims assistant. So I had no idea what to do. I was literally just an assistant, and I took orders, and I would email adjusters, and just from there, little by little, I started to learn about it. Turns out the guy who was in charge ended up leaving, so I moved up real quick. And it was kind of like they just put me into the water to swim or sink. So Luckily I was able to swim. I learned how to swim real quick. And I was able to, navigate myself through the insurance world, talking to adjusters. And then from there, I just began my career as a claims manager. And being a claims manager, I had the opportunity to go out into new business meetings with agents, and I would be talking about the product, high X mods, risk management, and I was basically there just to back up the agent if the insured or the prospect had any questions in regards to how the X mod is calculated. And I ended up building a good relationship with those clients as a workers' comp claims manager. And I said to myself, hey, I really love helping out people. I could see how much a claim could really drive up your X mod, especially you have more. And here in the state of California, basically X mods are calculated differently than any other state. Here you are penalized, and basically there is a threshold for every claim that you have. So it's very important that insureds maintain and keep control of their X mod. So I ended up working real close with contractors. And when I first started off as a sales producer, I was calling everyone just to see,
And real quick, so you were a claims manager for how long before you went to the agency side?
I was
or for sales?
it was about a good solid 6 years.
6 years,
Probably
okay.
6 years and a couple of months.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And then I ventured out into, so I was like a hybrid. So before I jumped into full a sales producer, I was a hybrid. So they gave me a list of cold leads, and they basically said, okay, knock yourself out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here you go. Whoever you land, if they become a client, good for you. If not, it's good practice.
Yeah.
So I ended up calling, and my first client was a plumber, and it was a contractor. And it just so happens that my first client had really, he had really, I guess, advanced policy. So he was doing OSA projects, and something I did not completely know. I learned a lot about construction just being with that account on its own, and that's how I learned a little bit about general liability, property, package on the construction side. So long story short, he did have claims, and I helped them out. And I just knew that, dealing with contractors, how the importance of having a good X mod is, and it makes you more profitable, being able to control those costs. So I started listening to you. I listened more to your podcast, and I think it was around that time. And you said that the riches are in the niches.
Yeah.
And that really made me realize, I'm like, okay, like, I do seem to have, be landing a couple of construction clients, so I think I need to, concentrate on construction. I think that's when I reached out to you, and you said, hey, can you give me a couple of advice? And you're like, okay, I think you could, maybe focus, since my clientele were plumbers, you could concentrate on plumbing. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
So I started concentrating on plumbing, and then I ran into concrete. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do, have concrete as my second layer of clients.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay. So, and I know that you've got maybe about a half a dozen or so since you started as a salesperson at the agency where you're at now. So how long ago did you start here?
At this, your podcast, or at my?
Where you're at now, your agency?
I started at my agency
November, right.
Yes.
So basically about 6 months ago. 6 months ago? Okay. And you've got, did you say 6 clients so far?
And this new agency, yes.
Yeah. And how many of them by BOR?
All of them.
All of them. Did you guys hear that? I just want you to understand, exactly what we're talking about here. It's that it's just a matter of doing the prospecting in a certain micro niche. Like Rocio said, the riches are in the micro niches. You just focus in your specific area. You understand what it is that you do and what you don't do. And when the things that you do it better than other people. And they're going to be able to see the value of that. So look, she could have probably wasted a whole bunch of time just going through quoting process, and maybe got rolled, and maybe won a couple accounts here and there if she was less expensive. But frankly, she is implementing the things that she's learned. She's averaging now an account per month by broker of record letter. And on average, I don't know exactly what this answer is, but on average, about how much would you say is the typical revenue per account?
I would probably say average 25K, 30K, because I do go after all the rest of the lines.
Yeah.
So I lead with workers' comp, and I, gather up the rest.
So 25, 30K of commission per account, focusing on really just going after a holistic approach to it, making workers' compensation your first primary in, winning an account, on average per month. That's a great start to a career. I'm really excited for you. As I've mentioned to a number of people, I actually think you're going to be a superstar. You're probably going to be a millionaire insurance producer, probably in about anywhere from 3 to 4.5 years. Keep doing what you're doing. And I just say, well done, Rocio. Good job.
Thank you. And that is the goal. I mean, that is why I joined, Millionaire Insurance Producer.
Yeah.
But I could go ahead and give you a story, give you a couple of stories of how I won
Let's hear it.
clients by BOR, and I'll give you a recent one that happened back in January of this year. And I followed your steps. So for those agents that don't know, Charles, when you sign up with Charles, we do go after every week. We have a new topic, and one of our topics is having a timeline of services. So I do go after high X clients who have high X mods, and everybody calls them. So as soon as your X mod is published, you basically have about 5 agents calling you that same day. And the only reason I got into this concrete contractor's office is that he said, okay, you have a solution on how I could lower down my X mod. Everybody else is telling me I can get you a lower bid, a lower bid, a lower bid. But you're the only one that came in saying, oh, you have a solution, and you showed me, you sent me a link to click on an X mod. And he's like, I've never seen my X mod. I didn't even know what I was looking at. That's the only reason why you're here. So now tell me. He's like, I'm busy. You have 30 minutes. What is it? And I said, perfect. That's all I need. I'm like, I probably just need time to tell you where the problem is at, but here you go. So I broke down the X mod for him on the services, and I also took on my timeline of services and guided him through it. So his problem was that his prior agent did not inform him about the claims. So he had no claim services. What we offer is that we do a quarterly claims review. So that way every quarter you're up to date to know exactly where your claims are at. Because as this guy, he had about 5 claims in 1 year. Prior to that, perfect mod. He never had any,
Just
very
had a
minor
bad year. Yeah.
claims. Yeah.
Yep.
So his X mod went from, I believe it was like an 82 all the way to 189.
Wow.
And he was with the state fund. So state fund obviously surcharged him, and poor guy was freaking out because his premium almost tripled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I broke down the services for him. Broke down the X mod, explained to him the services, and it only took him, I believe, only like 20 minutes to make his decision, and he was like, okay, this all sounds good. What is the next step? Like, I just need someone to solve this for me, take care of it, because I don't want to deal with claims. That's the last thing I need to do. I just want someone to solve this for me. He's like, I really do appreciate you taking your time to walk down and, break down the X mod, explain the services, and actually show me a timeline of services. And he's like, what is the next process? I'm like, well, here it is. And I, always carry myself a broker or record letter, because I believe that you should always be, talk with intention, go in with purpose. And that was my purpose, to come in. I know not every day not every meeting that you go to, you're going to get the broker of record. But in this one, I actually did get the broker of record that same day. And it was because I explained to him. But prior to my meeting, he actually had gone to my LinkedIn. And I, because on LinkedIn, it'll show you when someone sees you. And I'm like, oh, it's the owner of this concrete company. And I think he probably went through my reviews or did a little search on me, may have gone to my Instagram. And I think that might have encouraged them, like, okay, this girl seems to, know my area, know construction, she has good reviews. And that's how I won that business.
I actually think so there's a few things that I want to focus on there.
Yeah.
One, if insurance agents don't have their social media profiles dialed in for what they're going after, that's a huge red flag. Like you just said, it doesn't take too much time for a prospect just to check out your LinkedIn profile. And frankly, I think that's probably where they're going to go. They're usually going to go and check your LinkedIn profile, not your Facebook and so forth, because they just look at that as a little bit more of a business social media profile. So even if you're not going to spend a ton of time there, you better have it dialed in, because people are going to check it out. But you also said something that I think is so important, is because when you were going through the meeting with him, you were uncovering the problems that he had, you were going over your timeline of services, and then he was basically convinced, so he said, what's the next step? And that just, I think, is so important, because it's a reminder that insurance buyers don't know what the next step is. They don't realize like, okay, how do I fix this? Do I got to have you quote it and then win it? Like, no, they don't necessarily realize that the broker of record letter is even an option. And so then you're talking to them, you got the broker of record letter there. It's a matter of getting a signature, and now we can start fixing the problem for you. So great job. I just wanted to focus on that. It's awesome.
Yes. And I think agents should be transparent and just have a very simple process. Obviously, know your industry, because it's completely different when you're meeting with a human resources person and an owner. So I typically, all my meetings, I always do them directly with someone of management. Because at the end of the day, those are the people that are cutting the check. Yeah. So you need to build a relationship with them. You need to know who you are. If they're not available, maybe someone who could represent that management. But typically, owners care, because at the end of the day, it's coming out of their pocket. Yeah. So it's very important that agents build the relationship directly with the owner.
Yeah. Let me ask you then, so about social media, because I know that's where you spend the primary time prospecting. Is that correct? Do you think you spend like the bulk of your time doing social media, or is there another way that you prospect?
I think that's one of my avenues.
Okay.
I think it's been growing. It's been growing definitely the last month. Honestly, social media takes a while.
Yeah.
You just don't, build a link and people start following you.
Right.
You have to put in content, and that's one of the things, being consistent. For my social media, I primarily use Instagram. So I've gone on LinkedIn. I have added, a couple of my last couple of contacts have been contractors, and I just literally just search plumbers, concrete, and I just go on there and I click request. Some people add me, some people deny me, some people ignore me. Yeah. But it's just,
that's what I do too, everybody. That's just the way that it works. Yep.
Yeah, and no feelings hurt or anything. I just go on there, but I don't approach them. But maybe I should. I don't say like, "Oh, hi, thank you for adding me," any of this. I just let it as it is, and sometimes we'll like each other's things, or we'll comment. And then on Instagram, I find it that it's easier to do so, because I've had more success on Instagram connecting on a personal level with contractors, on following their pages and then following back. And then it's just as simple as, like, great truck,
right,
great view, a great job on their project. And my Instagram, I've tailored it to making it, I try to post at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I use an app called Later, so I have it all scheduled out. But it is something that you do have to be consistent, and it is time consuming. So if you are going to be using social media, I do say carve out some time. For me, I use weekends. So that's what I do on my weekends. I just try to schedule out, create my posts, and then have the app Later, and I just it will autofill, auto post.
Got it. So for those of you who are listening, I actually think that you need to go and check out Rocio's Instagram, because she has this business. She has a normal personal one like most people, but then she has this business account where she is really focusing on contractors, right? Are you still doing like mainly plumbing and concrete on that Instagram account?
That's all I follow. So I just put plumbing and concrete contractors.
Yeah. And is it, for the most part, is it workers' compensation, claims management related, or are you doing a lot of different stuff?
So I was doing a lot of, having a variety, but now that, we did tailor on and focusing on, and we had a little discussion about it, I am focusing on workers' comp, because that is my, that is my big, that's what I lead with. That's who I am, as a workers' comp.
And that's a huge, obviously, problem for them, right? It's just it's a big expense. Okay. So, and by the way, I actually follow her on this business account, and it's not like she's got like 2 people liking it. Like, she puts stuff out and she has hundreds of people, hundreds of accounts, that are seeing it and watching it and so forth. Like, it's really, really well done. In fact, there's a couple of people that I have seen tried to start using Instagram a little bit more. And I say, I tell them, I whisper to them, let's go see what Rocio's doing. She's doing really good. You should go see what she's doing. So I'm using you as an example, just as you know, on social media for Instagram, about how to really start killing it. Because, I mean, frankly, how many accounts have you gotten specifically from Instagram so far? How many clients?
So I have 3 that are clients, and I have 2 in the making who have reached out. Yeah. And I said, okay, this is it. And, they really literally reached out just saying, all of them, well, a majority of them have had issues with their certs. They said, I need help. I don't know what's going on. And they, it's just as simple, like, I need help. Can you call me? Or this. And, well, since we're on social media, I am going to talk about how I won my most recent plumbing account that I bound today on the general liability. And he had reached out to me via social media 2 weeks ago, and it was over a general liability audit that he had. He had no idea what was going on. Basically, the broker dropped the ball. He didn't estimate his payroll, his gross sales correctly.
Yeah.
So that's a big headache and big no-no. When the guy's trying to reach, going, hey, what's going on? So this plumbing contractor reached out to me saying, hey, I have an issue going on. It's an emergency. I don't know what's going on. Can you reach out to me? And I did. I had I gave him a call and we talked for a couple of minutes. And the first thing he says is like, hey, I'm reaching out to you because it seems like you really know plumbers, and I'm a plumber and I need help, like ASAP.
Well, hold on a second. I just want to say, did everybody hear that again? Please, understand the power of micro niching.
Yes.
They realize that she understands plumbers, and that's why he reached out to her. That's powerful. All right, keep going. Sorry, but I just wanted to highlight that. That's good stuff.
No, yeah, that's the first thing that came out of his mouth. He was like, you look like you know plumbers, and I'm a plumber, and I need some help.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, that's actually what I write. That's my main. That is my main group of people. So how can I help you? And he's like, oh, I have this issue of this audit, and we started kind of talking about more about his problems, and he's like, okay, well, I asked him what where do you have your policies, and it just turns out that he had each policy of a different agent. So now he's running to I forgot who handles my GL. I thought it was the auto guy, but it's not the auto guy. It's someone else. And someone else doesn't work there anymore. And I'm just having this big headache of reaching out and trying to get my contact information. I'm like, well, you can make it all so easy and simple for yourself. His name's Michael. So I'm like, Michael, you can make everything easier for yourself and just have it under one person. And it's simple as having one agent control. And I just gave him the definition, the power of having one agent and how it works and how it's better for him as a client, just someone controlling all of your accounts. And when you go out to market, they have more power, and underwriters are more susceptible to writing your account. I said, when you're just bidding and using different agents just to get a quote. And then he's like, yeah, that's such a headache. I hate, reaching out to several people just to get one quote.
Okay, hold on. I gotta pause you again. That is such, I try to tell agents that and they don't believe it. I tell them your prospects hate the quoting process more than you do. It is a huge nightmare for them. They hate having to deal with insurance agents. They don't like to go through this. It's just a big hassle. And so making it easier for them so that they understand that you have a solution to their problem. You're going to go out to the marketplace on their behalf. They only have to work with you. It's a great way to go about it. Okay, so unpause. Keep going. Good stuff.
Yes. No. So that's what he said. I hate reaching out and filling all these applications. And people just keep coming back with different questions, and I have no idea who I answer to. They're all kind of the same to me.
Yeah, I'm glad this is recorded because this is absolutely what I talk about. They don't know who they say what to. Good job.
Yes,
keep going.
And I could probably call him right now and vouch, and he would be like, "Oh, I hate the quoting process." Again, it's contractors. They're very busy people. They want to make things simple, and just like any other person, no one really likes to deal with insurance. They want to just be able to have someone reliable, responsible to answer their questions. And like you said, for my current clients and new clients that I'm getting, it seems that everybody just likes to have, just do it all in one process. Why have several houses or several agents when you get the same product, from one person? Make it easy. So anyhow, back to Michael's story. So we, talked about the process, and he's like, all right, I'm sold. Let's do this. Let's get all of this. And that was all over on the phone. And it was just as simple as him doing a group chat with his operations manager saying, hi, Suzanne, I want you to meet Rocio. This is our new broker. please, send over. She's gonna send you a form. Can you please, make sure I'm copied on it? And then from there, it's history.
That's awesome. And out of curiosity, how much revenue is that account?
That one's more on the smaller side, but total revenue is probably like it could be 12K.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, like on the small side, right? Most agents would probably say, man, I would love to have a $12,000 commission account. And I get it.
This is a nice account to have, just for social media, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
one
exactly where I'm
family.
going with this. It's like, it's
One
from
family.
Instagram, right? It's not even like a business platform. It's like they saw your video, they saw that you're focused on them, they saw the value of it. And these are not small accounts. Like, yeah, I love the fact that you're thinking bigger, right? Because I know you're writing 20, 25,000, and now it's just a matter of you like going to that next level. And $50,000, by the way, is what your next level is supposed to be, Rocio. So I can't wait till you start going after those bigger accounts like that. But $12,000 revenue accounts that come to you because they see that you provide something of value and that you have the answer to their problems, like that is a beautiful problem to have when you've got $12,000 revenue accounts coming to you because they see that you're the better choice for them. So, you know what, again, I just want to applaud you. I think you're doing a great job. You are actually like staying very focused on what you're doing and you're getting great results. Those periods, good job.
Yeah, and I won another concrete contractor that way too, probably around the same size, 2 weeks ago before that. So I would say my Instagram has probably been growing in the last month. And like I said, this is not a quick get rich quick fast. Like
Yeah.
if you're in the insurance industry, honestly, if you're in here for a quick buck, this industry is not for you.
Yeah.
This is an industry where do have to put in hard work, especially when you're a new agent. You really have to focus on prospecting. And when you get those clients, you have to build a relationship. And you get to know people because people will eventually tell you, the problems. And everybody has a different way of communicating, but if you do your job, and I feel like people do value, they do value a good agent.
Yeah, that's great. So talk to us then about the mastermind. What are you getting out of the mastermind? Why are you in it? What do you feel has been maybe the most important part that you've gotten out of it and so forth? Just talk to us about the mastermind.
Well, first of all, if it wasn't for the mastermind, I would have never created my Instagram. So you guys could go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You guys could go on my Instagram, which is Rocio_INS_services. And if you go on my first post, I think my first post was like sometime late September. And that's right after I believe we had a mastermind and you were talking about social media. You were
Okay.
saying you don't exist on social media, you just don't exist. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize that that's how you started Instagram
Yeah,
because,
that's why I started and how.
okay.
And I was really thinking, I had no idea. I think my first post was like an X mod.
Yeah.
It was an X mod. I probably got like one like, and I was probably like my sister.
Well, it's because they knew you didn't have anybody followers yet, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't think my sister follows my business account. I think it might have been one of my clients because she did follow me. So yeah, it probably was one of my clients who liked my first post. And I just, I didn't know really what to post. So I'm like, I'm just gonna post X mods, and then I just started, posting things. And the first but it wasn't probably till like January that I actually started picking up track. And I just started posting things about XMod, maybe something with construction, risk management. And then later, what started kicking off my Instagram was actually posting, selfie videos of you talking, doing like a quick second. And my first video that I did, I think it was raining, and I did one about property insurance. And I did pay the ad on LinkedIn, on Instagram to promote it. So so for agents that are trying to create a social media account on Instagram, I do say do use those services because that is what actually helped me get known on Instagram. So you're able to tailor it on Instagram to who your ads are able to see. So you can click, your profile, if you're looking for contractors in Southern California, between ages so and so, it will pop up on those pages.
That's great. That's awesome. Wow, I didn't realize that you got that idea from the mastermind. That's pretty cool.
Yes, and I would have, like I said, I would have never started an Instagram page if it wasn't, if it wasn't for you talking about social media.
Yeah.
And and the second thing that I've gotten from from you, and I'm still struggling with that, and it is organization and keeping yourself accountable for prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think as you start growing and you start servicing accounts, and that's one of the things that I think many agents struggle. We end up getting caught up in the servicing. We
Mm-hmm.
end up, saying, "Oh, let's do this." It's we're quoting, renewing our prospects. We're sending
Mm-hmm.
out to market. We're talking to underwriters. We're we're looking at policies,
Yeah.
and it is so easy to get yourself wrapped up in those tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm being honest. I still struggle with that, and but I think you do make a really good point in just keeping everybody accountable and
Mm-hmm.
saying you need to create yourself a schedule and block out and carve out time for prospecting.
Mm.
Because when you do, honestly, if you just do 1 week of just you cold calling, you'll see the difference in your work.
Yeah.
And I know it, and I know when I call and I have just literally just 1 week,
Mm-hmm.
you really have leads working for you.
Yeah. And I think that's like so true. The organization part of it. I mean, frankly, we're human, right? And we get caught up in doing a lot of different things. And for most people, prospecting is not fun. We would rather do something else. And so we can find something else to do. But unfortunately, those other things usually don't put any gold in our pockets. It's the prospecting that puts the gold in your pocket. So I
Right.
agree 100%. In fact, literally just today, this morning, I got another client. She contacted me. She works with a top 10 insurance brokerage in the world. She's doing decent at sales, but she just needs a little bit more focus in regards to her accountability and organization, period. I mean, I can't wait to see like how this is going to work out for her. So absolutely true. Anything else you want to say about the mastermind before we kind of wrap it up?
Yes. So overall, this is probably the big takeaway from the mastermind. Besides the social media and keeping yourself organized, what has really helped me and what I've gained from the mastermind is the fact that I just want to let agents know that there is a person out there. His name is Charles, and he helps out agents in taking you to the next level, keeping you self accountable, and you have access to a mastermind. So it's a group of people from all across the nation. You have different states, and we're all basically just talking about our goal into obtaining new clients, the struggles we go through, the blocks, different topics. You might seem redundant, but honestly, it's repetition. So everything that you do, he might seem like broker record, repetition, but that repetition is actually what leads you to your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So coming from an agent, if you are an agent and if you're like most agencies that work remote and you feel lonely, just like I did a couple, right in summer, I was working remote and I just, I was basically on my own, and it gets kind of hard when you're just working at home and you just have four walls and you don't have other agents to talk to, know what's going on, hearing what numbers they've hit, the struggles. And it really feels good to be able to lean on a group of people, having a coach. I believe that, that having a coach overall it's something that I would recommend if you're trying to, take yourself to the next level, because just as we go to the doctor to check on our health, and we have a mechanic for a car, we have our tax person for a car. If you're a salesperson, you also want to have someone who's a sales coach who has done it repeated number of times. So if you want to reach those type of goals, you have to follow people that have obtained that. And what better way than Charles, who has, he's done it himself and has had producers reach that goal. So I absolutely do recommend joining the mastermind if you want to reach $1 million in commission.
Well, that's awesome, Rocio. I really appreciate that. So thank you for it. And why don't you give us again what your Instagram handle was?
Yeah, so my Instagram, it's Rocio, ROCIO _INS services. So it's Rocio INS _services. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn under Rocio Luna. And under my profile, there's a link to my Instagram. So I purposely put my link on my Instagram. So when I'm following prospects, they can go on there. And I've also, gained some momentum, by posting
I
that.
bet you have. Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. So for those of you who are listening, go follow her on Instagram so you can see what Rocio is doing on that social media platform and winning new clients, even her small ones at $12,000 of revenue, right? Which we would all love to have. So it's a great problem. But if you're interested in the mastermind, I invite you to go and check it out. Go to 12x.club. That's on my website, 12x.club, and you'll see a little bit of information about it. Like Rocio said, it's a lot of insurance agents from around the United States and even from Canada. We have property and casualty agents in there, a number of employee benefits agents in there, and frankly, even have a fair number of personal lines agents who are trying to make the switch even into personal lines or to commercial lines. We talk about the curriculum. We talk about broker of record letter stories. We give one another, the applause and the clap when they get one that week. And frankly, it just keeps everybody on the same page. So 12x.club is where it's at. Rocio, thank you so much for being with us today. Really appreciate you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Charles. It was an honor being on your podcast.
All right. So everybody, my name is Charles Specht. I am the host here of the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast, where we teach and train insurance agents how to build a $1 million or more book of business through signed broker of record letters. This is the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast.